Okay. Thank you, everybody. We are live on the live stream. Could I invite everybody to stand, please? I would like to welcome everybody to the June scheduled meeting of Swan Hill Rural City Council. I'd like to welcome everybody in the gallery and anybody watching on the live stream today, and thank you for your attendance at this meeting today. Swan Hill Rural City Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet and pays its respects to elders past and present. Councillor Rogers, can I invite you to read the prayer, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. We beseech you, Lord, that we may be granted wisdom, understanding and temerity of purpose in the decisions we are called on to make for the welfare of the people of the rural city of Swan Hill.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Please be seated. We have no apologies today, but we do have a leave of absence from Councillor Les McPhee. Could I have somebody to move that, please? Move Councillor Englefield, seconded Councillor Broad. Those in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you. Directors and officers present today: Scott Barber, Chief Executive Officer; Michelle Granger, Director of Development and Planning; Bruce Myers, Director of Community and Cultural Services; Leah Johnston, Director of Infrastructure; Stephen Fernando, Director of Corporate Services; and Sharon Lindsay, Executive Assistant. Councillors, the minutes for the scheduled council meeting held on Tuesday the 19th of May and the unscheduled council meeting held on Tuesday the 2nd of June have been circulated. Could I have somebody to move those minutes, please? Move Councillor Thornton, seconded Councillor Broad. All those in favour? That is carried. Thank you. Disclosures of conflict of interest. Before I start, do we have any disclosures of conflict of interest around the tables? No? So I'd like to declare a direct conflict of interest for items 1.8.1, the petition to stop the VMFRP projects in Nye and Vinifera Forest, and agenda item 5.2, I think it is, floodplain engineering projects, Nye and Vinifera, as my business is a supplier to one of the project contractors. We'll now move to agenda item 1.8, which is joint letters and reading of petitions. Agenda item 1.8.1 is the petition, so I will leave the room and I'll ask Councillor Jennings if you could please take the chair.
Okay, so petition to stop the VMFRP Victorian Murray Floodplain Restoration projects in Nye and Vinifera Forest. Mr CEO, please.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. So a petition was received on the 10th of June 2026 from Mr Jack Devereux, who's here with us today. The petition is to stop the VMFRP, so that's Victorian Murray Floodplain Restoration Project in Nye and Vinifera Forest. There were 360 signatures requesting that Council, the Murray River Group of Councils and the Victorian Government stop these projects. Going through that, Deputy Mayor, I have recommended that Council receives this petition and that the CEO refer the petition to DECA, that's the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr CEO. Any questions with regard to this from councillors? Thanks, Peter. Councillor Thornton.
Just a question as to whether we are able to question the petitioner who is present today.
No, Councillor. Petitions are to be received and the Council publicly acknowledges they've received the petition.
Thank you very much.
That said, I'll call for a motion.
I'll move motion.
As per the recommendation.
As per the recommendation.
Do I have a second to that motion? Councillor Rogers? Okay, do you wish to speak to it, Councillor Thornton?
I will. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to firstly thank Jack Devereux for submitting the petition and also to the Nye community for demonstrating their engagement on such an important issue, and also for many of the community members being here today. I think that a petition is a really important way for the community to voice their opinion, and through the council process, it's a welcome change to see the gallery full today and people exercising their right to be involved, and we really encourage that, so thank you very much. It's clear from the petition submitted that there is strong community opposition, and that's coming from a broad range of stakeholders, from irrigators to supporters of the environment, First Nations people, and just general citizens who love and use the forests out there. Despite the proponents of the projects claiming extensive community consultation, many in the community are hearing this about these projects for the very first time. And so it's a really important way through this petition that the community can be heard, and that further discussions and concerns be heard. I think it's a really important way for council to show our commitment to community consultation, and communities having a say in the projects that happen in their very own backyard. So I'll leave it at that and put it to the council for the councillors to speak to.
Thanks, Councillor Thornton. I should have also mentioned that the recommendation was that council receive the petition and that the Chief Executive Officer refer the petition to the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, being DECA. So that's what you've moved, Councillor Thornton. Do you wish to speak to it, Councillor?
Not really.
Rogers?
Councillor
Deputy
Jennings,
Mayor, I am.
Deputy Mayor. No, it's a procedural thing that we accept all the positions, and Peter's spoken to it, so I don't wish to speak any further than that. Thank you.
Anyone wish to speak against the motion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Thank you. The motion's carried. Can we ask the Mayor to return, please? Thanks, Mr Mayor. The motion was put as per the recommendation and has been carried.
Sure whether he's got any requirement.
Thank you, Councillor Jennings. Oh, okay, righto. Thanks, Mr CEO. Just letting you know that the business relating to the petitions is now complete. So, as I said to somebody outside earlier, just because you attend the public gallery doesn't mean that we've chained you in here and you can't leave at any point in time. So, yeah, you feel free to leave if you wish to. Righto. Moving forward, could I have a motion, councillors, that standing orders be suspended for public question time and open forum? Move Councillor Broad, seconded Councillor Rogers. All those in favour? Thank you. We have a number of public questions that have been submitted, 17 in total, and with the permission of the people who sent those questions in, I have consolidated the questions from 17 back to 10 without losing the context of any of those questions. I would like to thank the following people who submitted the questions: Andrew Oxley, Darren Hender, Hayley Hender, Gary Smythe, Barry James, Trevor Zanker, Alan Greenham, Jeff Dalton, Tamika Tonkin and Scott Tonkin. Thank you. So the questions are, number one, in relation to Werrell Street, for context. Number one, what specific complaints, concerns, safety incidents or evidence have led council to consider restricting agricultural machinery from using Werrell Street, and over what period of time were these recorded? Question 2, has council undertaken a formal road safety assessment comparing the current use of Werrell Street with the proposed alternative route, including the risks of slow-moving and oversized machinery travelling on a 100km/h highway? Number 3, has council considered the practical safety risks of agricultural machinery using the proposed alternative route, including convoys with pilot vehicles, headers towing fronts, chaser bins, trucks and machinery turning across highway traffic. Question number 4. Has Council consulted directly with local farmers, agricultural contractors, transport operators and Pentle Island residents who regularly use Werrell Street for agricultural machinery movements? Question 5. Does Council recognise that Werrell Street is an established and important agricultural access route between Pentle Island, Swan Hill and farming land in the surrounding Mallee region? Question 6. How are farmers and contractors expected to safely move slow-moving or oversized machinery between Pentle Island and Mallee properties if Werrell Street access is restricted? Question 7. What evidence does Council have that registered agricultural machinery is less safe on Werrell Street than other large, slow-moving or heavy vehicles such as council plant, trucks, buses, delivery vans or caravans? Question 8. Is Council aware of concerns that intersections and turning movements on the proposed alternative route, including the Murray Valley Highway, Pentle Island Road and Aerodrome Road, may be inadequate or unsafe for agricultural machinery? Question 9. Why is Council considering a restriction that local farmers believe may create greater risk, disruption and inconvenience than the current use of Werrell Street? And question 10. What is the current status and timing of the proposed Werrell Street works, including when tenders may be called and whether further consultation will occur before any final decisions are made? And I believe I'm deferring to the Director of Infrastructure to answer. Ms Johnston.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Firstly, thank you to all the residents and their questions. Rather than provide individual responses, I will provide an all-encompassing response so that individual responses are not duplicated. However, I will address or try to address all the raised points of note.
Ms Johnston, have you got your microphone on?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it is.
It is on. That's as far as it goes. Can everyone hear that now? Yep, a little better. There we go. I'll just repeat what I've just said. Rather than provide individual responses, I will provide an all-encompassing response so that individual responses are not duplicated. However, I will endeavour to address all the issues that have raised of note. Council has been through a comprehensive review, working with the Department of Transport and Planning, and in particular the TAC, to identify road safety issues in our municipality. One of the projects identified to be reviewed due to safety concerns was Werrell Street. Council has received numerous complaints for many years, and a question was raised in the public question time from adjoining residents at a council meeting in late 2023, raising concerns of traffic speeding in Werrell Street and heavy transport vehicles using this road. Council has requested that this project be further considered due to the number of complaints that were being raised by the local community. It also complemented works that Council was proposing to undertake at the intersection of Deadhorse Road and Backboga Road, where we are looking at a road widening, curb and channel and street lighting project and a raised platform across Werrell Street. Werrell Street has never been expected to cater for heavy vehicles and already is signed indicating that no trucks are allowed in this residential street. However, this has not been enough of a deterrent and heavy trucks are still using this road, noting that the sign is really small and its intent is not really clear. The project in Werrell Street is currently under design. Once the design is completed, a road safety assessment, or an audit is what we normally call it, is undertaken at the final stages of the design before the project progresses any further. There has been no consultation with local farmers, agricultural contractors, transport operators or other businesses in relation to either of these projects at this stage. For a residential street, it is normal practice to engage with the adjoining property owners, noting that the proposed project is just enforcing the current conditions which is signed for no heavy trucks. Council recognises that agricultural vehicles operate across the local road network in Swan Hill and the surrounding region in accordance with the Class 1 agricultural vehicle access arrangements. Werrell Street forms part of this broader network where such movements may occur as part of lawful agricultural operations and freight activity. Werrell Street, to be clear, is not being closed. Rather, Council is focused on improving safety and the use of a residential street for heavy trucks is undesirable. The lane widths
are 2.9 metres or greater through the proposed traffic calming options that are being proposed. So a vast majority of tractors will still be able to use this road at a slow speed. Council recognises that when agricultural vehicles are required to use higher order roads, such as the Murray Valley Highway, they operate within mixed traffic environments where lower operating speeds can occur. These conditions are a known and managed characteristic of the broader arterial road network and are considered as part of regional road safety and network planning. The current proposed works are intended to improve safety and manage traffic interactions, rather than promote or facilitate agricultural movements through residential street environments. Regarding large cavalcades with lengths of 100 to 150 metres, these would never be encouraged to travel on a local residential street. The Murray Valley Highway is a declared arterial road and is managed by the Department of Transport and Planning, not Council. Accordingly, the assessment and management of safety for oversized agricultural vehicle movements on that roadway, including interactions at intersections such as Aerodrome Road, is the responsibility of the department, in conjunction with the relevant road safety and heavy vehicle regulatory frameworks. Council's role is limited to local road interfaces with the arterial network and ensuring that connecting municipal roads are designed and maintained to appropriately interface with the state-controlled road system. This includes consideration of safe arrangements for agricultural and heavy vehicles within the local road network context. Matters relating to the safe operation of agricultural machinery on arterial roads, including pilotage requirements and intersection management on the Murray Valley Highway, are determined and regulated by the relevant state authorities. In regard to various intersections along the Murray Valley Highway, such as Pentle Island Road and Aerodrome Road, these intersections have already been raised with the Department of Transport and Planning, and they will be doing an in-depth analysis of the risk and associated impacts prior to endorsing the designs for Werrell Street. Council has not relied upon any evidence that a Vic Roads registered tractor is inherently less safe than any other vehicle type operating on Werrell Street. Road safety assessments are based on the interactions of vehicles within the road environment, rather than comparisons on inherent safety between different vehicle types. This project has arisen due to concerns with heavy trucks and speeding on Werrell Street. The road is not being closed, however, it is hoped to deter heavy trucks to use more appropriate routes along the arterial network. It is envisaged that designs will be completed within the next 3 to 4 months, after which the project will be tendered.
Thank you, Ms Johnson, for the response. I can turn my volume down now. Thank you for the response. There's no motion as such as when it comes to public questions, councillors. So just and for the public's benefit as well, just to note that. However, having discussed this with the with the CEO, this matter will be brought back to a councillor briefing in the future as part of the design review process and opportunity for further consideration by councillors on behalf of the community during that process. So I will thank those people who submitted questions. Thank you for taking part in the democratic process of council. It's always it's good to know that people are taking notice and participating in the democratic process. And yeah, your questions have been read, noted. Thank you for sending them in. We have the response, and as I said, this will be considered further at a future councillor briefing. And I thank those interested parties who are here in the gallery today for your interest in this matter. Whilst we're out of standing orders, we will now move to open forum. We have had a request from Jackie Kelly to present to council in open forum. So I'll invite Jackie to come forward. Do we have a microphone somewhere? Thank you. Welcome, Jackie, and just reminding you, you have 3 minutes to present to councillors.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'm here today to ask a question of the council. It's important for the community to understand how council has been involved in the VMFRP project. The VMFRP project has been running for over 10 years, possibly with other names. And it's come to a head now where they're out at Naya and ready to start construction. Our community group, Friends of Nyvanifra Park, who first established in 1996, we have fought against these projects for 10 years. In every possible way, we have played by the rules. We have participated in good faith in meetings, tours, submission periods, a full EES and ER, which is a Victorian planning process. But I've always described this project as like a freight train coming towards us. It has had an incredible momentum that seemed to not want to listen to anybody to co-design or to listen to the community's point of view. So about 5 years ago, the Mallee CMA stopped meeting here. They didn't come anymore, and so that's why when they started to put up bunting and things started happening out at the forest, the Nyvanifra community and the Swan Hill community and the region, people were very shocked and thought, what is this? And there was no public awareness or advertising or public notice of what was happening. So our group, as people may know, because it was in The Guardian and in the media, we also took legal action on a small matter to do with the offsets for Regent Parrot, because this project has in its design that it will cut down 300 trees, including large trees and very large old trees that have hollows. The numbers of trees are
30 seconds.
approximately
Ms. Kelly.
150. So it's using a cookie cutter design. And my question to the council is what involvement has council had in those years to do with an advisory committee that council was invited to be on? It's a cultural and natural landscape that needs to be protected. Our group's been out there for 25 days now. We're going to stop the machines coming in. The whole community is joining with us.
That's time.
And we're going to be a collective deterrent.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Councillors, there's an opportunity. If you'd like to remain, Jackie, the council, there's an opportunity if you wish to ask any questions for clarification in anything that Ms. Kelly has presented today. Councillor Thornton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask Jackie, do you think that over the years, but in particular in the last 4 weeks, you're seeing a broad range of opposition to the projects? For example, the types of people who want to have a say in this issue, are they coming from a broad range of the community, or is it sort of singling out one particular group like Friends of Nyvanifra Park, or is it broad?
It's very broad. It's fishermen, bike riders, walkers, horse riders, naturalists, bird watchers, campers. It's the whole community, and it's children, it's elderly people. People have been crying. There's been a lot of emotion. There's been anger, shock, sadness, confusion, and also a feeling of being, just the aggressive way that the project has been presented out there, with no warning, no community meeting to allow discussion, or, has the project been modified for the last 5 years? Is it the same plans, or when are you going to close? How long are you going to close for? Just all those questions. So I think the project has created a lot of that angst. I think it's very broad. There's engineers, there's naturalists.
Thank you. I think you've answered the question. Thank you.
People interested in tourism.
Thank you. I think you've answered the question. Further question, Councillor Thornton?
Just a question regarding the alternatives, if it could be brief, but have alternatives been considered, and are there legitimate alternatives?
Well, alternatives were not considered in the EES. That was the out of scope. So people who objected to the project were not allowed to discuss alternatives. And there is alternatives, which are constraints relaxation, and that has been proven by research. So it's very unfortunate because what they've chosen is very expensive, it's very invasive, very destructive, and the alternatives would allow the floodplain to stay as a floodplain and not have a large scar on it with rock and concrete.
Thank you. Any other councillors have any questions? Thank you. Thank you, Ms Kelly. I appreciate you... Oh, sorry. Councillor Englefield.
Yeah, just in regards to the comment about the alternatives, you were aware of the peer-reviewed study from Melbourne professor that suggests that restraint relaxations on their own are not adequate?
I am aware of that, and we sent that to the ANU and to the professors up there whose studies show that they are, and they spoke very disparagingly about that research and said it wasn't really up to scratch and it wasn't peer-reviewed and it was very poor research. So you've got to really be careful who engaged for that, what vested interests they had.
Further question, Councillor Englefield?
Well, I'd like to respond with a comment, given that that was a comment.
Yep, that's fine.
You asked me a question, how can I not have a comment?
And you commented about being careful, and I agree. It's one person's experts, another person. I can show you my expert, I can show you yours. So, but it would be fair to say that the Melbourne Uni independent studies backed up by the Murray-Darling Basin Authority, for example, using their hydraulic modelling and the like. So, I mean, you have your opinion, I probably have mine.
Thank you. We're not going to enter into debates in open forum, but I thank you for sharing your views.
I would welcome a discussion, a longer discussion about that.
Councillor Jennings, you have a question?
Just a clarification. Sorry, I'll turn my mic on. Clarification, at the briefing we had just recently from the project group, it was mentioned that it was 80 trees, not 300. Mm-hmm. Is that acknowledged?
Well, what they're doing is they're playing around with the facts. 80 trees, are they 80 large trees, 80 total trees? So they're bringing down numbers like that just to swindle the community like they have the whole time. They've lied the whole time and they're full of lies just to get their project through. So it'll be a lot more than 80 trees. And if you come out to the forest, we'll show you why we think that.
Final question, Councillor Thornton.
Thank you. I do appreciate the opportunity. Just to make a comment on...
Question of the presenter.
Question of the presenter. Is there a definition of peer-reviewed, or what is considered to be peer-reviewed, and also who funded the research that Councillor Englefield refers to?
Well, it's my understanding that probably, I don't know 100%, so I won't comment, but it's easily find outable. I'm not going to try and pretend I know that.
Thank you, Ms Kelly, for your presentation to Council in open forum today, and again, thank you for participating in the process, the democratic process of local government. As you are aware, the petition that was presented earlier in regards to this matter has had a resolution been received and referred by resolution of Council. You'll also be aware that there is a notice of motion later on in the agenda in regards to this matter as well. With respect to your questions in regards to a 10-year time log of Council's involvement in the Naya Vinifera VMFRP project, I think it's unrealistic to expect Council to produce such evidence for that period of time where Council is neither the project proponent nor the landowner or manager for the sites. Council is aware that there has been numerous community meetings, roundtables and stakeholder engagements over the last 10 years that have been conducted since the inception of this project, which I'm sure your group, and you mentioned this today, you are well aware of. As Councillor Jennings alluded to, most recently Council was briefed a few weeks ago by the project proponents and associated relevant parties in relation to this project. Council is also aware that VMFRP project representatives have offered to meet directly with the executive of the Friends of the Nye Vinifera Park. So again, thank you. There's no resolution on this matter, but thank you again for your presentation to Council today. Council, could I have a motion that standing orders be resumed? Move Councillor Rogers, seconded Councillor Inglefield. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. We will now move on to agenda item 2.1, planning application for 41 High Street, Piangle, use and development of land for rural workers accommodation and education centre. Ms Granger.
Thank you, Mayor. So this application is in the township zone. Just wait.
We might just wait, Ms Granger, if that's okay. Thank you. We'll start again. Thank you, Ms Granger.
Thank you. So this is an application for a planning permit for rural worker accommodation and an education centre at 41 High Street, Piangle. It's in the township zone. There's the land subject to inundation overlay, a heritage overlay and an environmental significance overlay that we've had to assess when we're dealing with this application. Part of the works already exists, so part of the proposal is retrospective, but then other elements are also proposed. The township zone is a very broad zone, so it allows a range of residential, commercial and industrial uses, and this development is reusing the old primary school, the Piangle Primary School. So it's exciting to see a reuse of a heritage building. The application was advertised and it was sent to a number of referral authorities. And no one, all the referral authorities consented, subject to conditions. We received one objection, and the objection raised concerns about safety in the community, amenity, and other impacts on the local community. Both the applicant and council has responded to those objections and believe that some of the matters that can be considered can be dealt with by conditions, but the issues around police and security are not issues that the planning system can deal with. We have assessed this application against the zone and the planning framework, and as we all know, our community is crying out for more housing, and in particular housing that will assist rural workers. We are recommending approval of this permit, and because we've got an objection, it's a notice of decision to grant a permit subject to a number of additional requirements. So there are a number of management plans and wastewater requirements that will need to be satisfied within 6 months of the issue of the permit to ensure that this use and development is managed and operated in such a way that it doesn't have impacts beyond the site boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Granger. Are there any questions, councillors, in regards to this matter? Just one from me, Ms Granger. In regards to the conditions that are outlined as part of the recommendation, is there anything there that's out of the ordinary for this type of that you would consider out of the ordinary for this type of facility?
No, they're like waste management plans, ensuring wastewater can be retained on site, some operational management plans. There are some number of restrictions and they're based around the wastewater requirements, so what the site can handle.
Thank you. Any other questions? If there's no questions, could I have a motion, councillors? Councillor Inglefield.
Yeah, as per the recommendation.
Seconder for the motion, Councillor Jennings. Thank you. Councillor Inglefield, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, just quickly, I think everyone's well aware that I think things like this are great for the community and great for particularly our working community, who live by and large in a serious amount of substandard housing. One here there in Piangle, I think it will be a really, really good addition to our accommodation stock, and I hope this gets going ASAP.
Thank you, Councillor Inglefield. Councillor Jennings, you wish to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yes, I support Councillor Inglefield said, and the applicant did come and address us at council and came across as a person with good social conscience who looks after his people that he has in his accommodation. He has a background in providing this type of accommodation, and it appears that that the people that do stay at his place are well looked after and treated with dignity and respect. So I think that's a terrific outcome that we're able to provide much needed, as Councillor Inglefield said, much needed accommodation in the area out there that's a growing horticulture area. And I again also look forward to this getting up and going and coming to its full fruition.
Thank you, Councillor Jennings. Do you have any speakers against the motion? Does anybody else wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah.
Councillor Rogers.
I'd like to also fully support what the other councillors have said, to support the motion, and commend the applicant for providing a great service to the people of Piangil, and wish you all the luck and success for the endeavour. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Councillor Thornton.
Thank you. I think it's a great example of an applicant and a community member who's working with council, and I look forward to working cooperatively with the applicant to deliver appropriate accommodation for our workers that are so desperately needed for our industries, and I'm looking forward to seeing and visiting your accommodation at Piangil. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thornton. With no speakers against the motion, I'll now put the motion. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you. And thank you, Ms Granger, for the report. Agenda item 2.2, adoption of the 2026-27 budget. Mr Fernando.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was expecting my finance officer to be here in case there were some questions. I will make some comments on two aspects of the budget. One is the process itself, and then some comments on the numbers. Usually our budgeting process starts around January to be completed by the end of June as required by regulations. This year we added an element to the front end of the process, which was a departure from normal practice, and that element was a pre-process community consultation. That started somewhere around in November, and we had 19 submissions made as a result of that pre-process consultation. The thinking is that when you have the normal public display of the budget after the draft budget is completed, there is not a lot of room for significant changes or inclusions of projects, and it was thought that a proper, much better true consultation could take place at the start of the process. So that's what we started. The draft of the 19 submission, almost all of them have been either included in the current budget or in the 4-year financial plan, because some of them are longer term projects. Some of the items were not specifically for the budget, and they have been included in things like advocacy programs and so forth. Just coming on to the numbers, the budget numbers itself. We can look at, the easiest way is to look at as a summary instead of dealing down into the individual numbers, is to look at some key ratios. The first one, the first set of ratios is about our operating position, which is generally looking at income, expenses, and the net position. One of the first things that we look at is So a quick indicator there. One of the first things that we look at is what we call our own source revenue, which is basically how much of our destiny do we control. In our instance, not a hell of a lot, not a lot, about half. The target is about 60% set by the state. Unfortunately, our rural councils like ours with a very low population density, it's very difficult to get to 60%. As you can see, I've colored that amber, but that's probably how it is going to be. It's not too far off from the target. Expenses, the idea is to manage it within inflation, and that is what we are looking at doing in the plan, obviously changing with inflation where required. The only real concern in our budget is what we call our net operating position. Ideally, we want to be at least at break even, if not slightly on the positive side. And this is purely looking at operating revenues and operating expenses. We are at the moment slightly negative, and that is we are looking at a similar situation for the next 4 years, which is not great, and that is something that we definitely have to put a bit more attention and look at what options we have. Unfortunately, that is probably one of the most difficult positions to address because it relates to day-to-day operations and service levels to the community. The other elements are generally in line. The asset renewals should be ideally at around 100%. You can see this year it's much higher than that, and it has been higher in the past few years. While I have flagged it as amber for the roughly 80% over the next 3 years, when you look at it over a 5-year average, we are still comfortably within required ranges. It's just that we can't have it below 100 for a long time, which is why I have raised it as something to watch. Unfortunately, I do have a slight error in that on the debtors row that should be marked amber. Ideally, we want to keep it to less than 10% outstanding rates. It is a bit higher than that. We are working on that for the first time since we eased activity on that front during and after COVID. We are beginning to take some steps to ensure that we recover those amounts. The other numbers relating to cash, loans, etc., we are well within required. We are in very comfortable positions. So that's the net result of the current budget and the 3 years looking forward that we are presenting today. As I mentioned at the start, this has been through a draft process and been on public display. We have had some comments, not necessarily directly requesting significant changes to the budget, but we will address them as we go along. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Fernando. Councillors, are there any questions of Mr. Fernando or Mr. Free in regards to the budget? Thank you. Councillor Inglefield.
Mr. Fernando, our net operating position, can you just explain that again, please, and why you see that as a difficult measure to get back within the target range?
Yeah. So for a lot of council expenses, so council expenses are generally categorized into, you could address that in 2 different ways. One is to raise revenues or cut costs, right? Or a combination of both. Raising revenue, we have limitations because, as we know, we operate under a rates cap, and we do not have a control over how much of grants we get, so forth. So there's limited avenues for that. On the expense side, we have 3 key categories: staff expenses, materials and services, and depreciation. Now, depreciation is not something that you can reduce in the short term because it's based on the assets we have put on the ground in the past. So that's pretty much fixed. Staff expenses, while there's some leeway, there is legislation to be considered, and if any significant amounts of staff numbers have to be reduced. There's things like redundancies which add costs. So it's possible, but there are limitations there. And then with materials and services, including the staff numbers, can impact service levels that we deliver to the community. For instance, if you have staff and then you cut back on materials and services, you might have idle staff and so forth. There are impacts on each other. So yeah, not impossible, and definitely can be done within certain limits. But yeah, it's not the simplest of things to do.
Further
And
questions?
just a follow-up to
Yep.
that. So of those measures that are there before us, is that the most critical measure for our financial sustainability over the future periods?
Given our position, yes, that is the most, the probably highest priority item that we should address, because that's the only one that is sort of in the red, if I may call it that, no pun intended.
And so sorry.
Yeah.
As per your explanation, there are really only two options to push that into positive, either raise revenue or cut costs,
Or a combination of both.
or a combination of both.
Thank you, Councillor Engfield. Councillor Broad?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just a question with our outstanding rates. You mentioned it should be amber, so it's of some concern.
Yes.
Just with that, do we have any sort of financial hardship, assistance to help with people who may not be in a position to pay with cost of living going up? And also, we've got differentials for our rates, so for our rating categories, do we take into account what percentage of those differentials are unable to pay rates, and does that inform our rating and revenue strategy at all?
I'll answer the hardship question first. Yes, we definitely have in place a hardship policy and offer payment arrangements over a long period of time, free of any interest costs. That is, we have had that for a long time, but that is now also a requirement of the state government. It's a recommended requirement, but highly, very much expected that every council has that in place. We offer that during the whole process of the collection process. We offer that option, and we will only undertake other avenues to collect if the ratepayer does not avail themselves of the opportunity to have a payment plan in place. So definitely that is the first approach that we take. In terms of the rating differential, no, we do not take the outstanding amounts for each rating category in the strategy to set differentials. So it's based pretty much on the land values, not just the land, the improved land values, and sort of balancing the total amount of rates that are contributed by each of those categories.
Councillor Jennings?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I interpret the question of Councillor Broad's question as, is there one of the rating categories that has a higher level of outstanding rates, whether it's... Is that what you were asking, Hugh?
Yeah, I was careful not to get into sort of comment, but it was more of a thought of if we've got a certain rating category that is, a higher outstanding rate, would we consider potentially looking at our differentials for that particular category? So yes.
It's prospectively something that would be good information for us down the track. So my question was with regard a couple of questions. The outstanding rates, if we were to get closer to target, and I realise this is without notice, but if we were to get that drop from 14% to 10%, what effect would that have on the net operating position? Would it get it closer to that target? And the other question with regard the net operating position for future would probably be good for the councillors to see some benchmarking in terms of how that, whether that net operating position is achievable, or is that 1.5 to 2.3% pretty consistent across like councils in regional areas?
I'll take your statement as a question. Can we see some benchmarking data across other councils? Councillor Jennings.
I'm assuming that it's a hard question to answer now, but is it something that can be answered for us in future if it needs to be taken on notice?
Thank you, Councillor Jennings. No, I can answer that question now because that is something that the Auditor General, Vargo, comments in its reports to Parliament. And yeah, so generally, I believe it was something around 50 to 60% of councils are in operating deficits across the state, and that's not too different across the country. That in general, it is accepted that local government is not in a great financial position as a whole here. And that tends to be a lot higher in rural and regional councils as opposed to metro councils. Metro councils that have much larger populations in much smaller geographic areas, so high population density, are in much better financial positions than regional or rural councils. And to answer your first question, while we have above expected rates outstanding, none of that has as yet been written off. So that has had no impact on the net operating position at the moment. We need to ensure that we keep collecting them and getting that money in to prevent that net operating position from deteriorating further, because if we come to a position where at least a portion of that is not collectible, then that has to be written off, and that will make the net operating position worse than it is now.
I guess what I'm asking is, if we were to get that rates outstanding down to the 10%, what effect does that have on the net operating position? Is it just in the hundreds of thousands, or is it $1 million, or what effect would it have on the net operating?
Well, the net operating position doesn't actually change because we raise the same revenue within the year, so the collection is purely just from a cash flow point of view.
What's the total outstanding debtors?
$6 million.
We have $6 million to be collected. Not all of them are overdue. Some of them are still within the period they are supposed to pay. But yeah, about $6 million of rates to be collected.
10%.
That all of that won't be written off because we have people who actually regularly pay. But even if you have to write off $1 million of that, that's a significant impact on the net operating position.
It just comes to mind. It was one thing that we talk about. We're restricted with rate cap, and a little bit limited with expenses. If we are to get that down, it's one benefit to the bottom line.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jennings. Any other questions? Councillor Thornton.
Thank you. Thanks very much for the report, Mr. Fernando and Mr. Free. Again, we did discuss when we adopted the draft budget, so I'm not going to go over a lot of the questions that I had during that meeting. It was fabulous to receive the data from the council officers. It really has helped for us to understand our position. I just did have a question regarding the charges to the community organisations, such as Warraneen District Progress Association, when they utilise the community centres. Firstly, I understand that they have a lease arrangement, but is there an argument that the costs for those community organisations be waived permanently or as when needed, and is there a vehicle for them to to apply for that, because these organisations essentially do a lot of the maintenance, keep an eye on the asset by being there, and drive a lot of community activity. So I'm just wondering, sort of, what's the cost, and are they able to apply to have those costs waived?
Yeah. So thank you, Councillor Thornton. There are quite a bit of differing arrangements depending on the organisation, the facility, and what they do. Like you mentioned, some of them maintain the property or the community hall. Some of them don't. Some of them are there on a regular basis. Some of them come once a week or something and use it and go. So, and the payments vary also depending on those arrangements, but all of them make some in-kind or cash payment across the board. Whether the organizations pay or not really has to be a budget decision and a council decision. It's not really up to the officers to say, okay, these groups can pay and these groups shouldn't pay. And if that is the case, if that is something that the councillors want considered, then we will have to bring some information and a report to council for the council to consider that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. A couple of quick ones from me. The health indicators are an outstanding way of presenting budget information as an overall snapshot of the budget, because you can get lost in the numbers, obviously. Just, is it fair to say that with inflation in the broader economy at over 4% and the rate cap at 2.75%, that every day council is essentially going backwards financially?
I would say yes, that is correct. It's almost impossible for any organisation, certainly not a private organisation, if their costs grow faster than their revenues, then you're heading to a wall, if I may say.
Yeah. And whilst I'm not suggesting we follow the lead of our state and federal counterparts, given the financial indicators, is it also fair to say that this council has scope to borrow money to undertake projects if required, given that the loans to rates ratio is less than 10%, and the target can be 50% or above? Not suggesting we should do that. I'm just asking the question: do we have that sort of scope?
Yes. So the current financial indicators do indicate that there is scope to borrow. From a current ratio and a borrowing perspective. However, the other aspect of that is when you borrow, you incur interest, and that will further deteriorate the net operating position. So there are multiple aspects. It's not just one ratio that impacts. In general, if you're borrowing for projects that generate some sort of revenue or return, that's a much better borrowing than if you're borrowing for a project that is not going to get you any return. Also cognizant that when you borrow for a project, usually you're putting some sort of asset on the ground that creates depreciation that adds to the net operating position as well.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for the explanation. Are there any other questions? And if not, could I have a motion, please, councillors? Councillor Thornton?
I move to adopt the budget as presented and the recommendation.
As per recommendation.
As per recommendation.
Thank you. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
thank
ask you to read it all out.
Thank you.
Because it is there and very clear. Thank you, Councillor Thornton. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Broad. Councillor Thornton, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Mr Mayor, I'm not going to speak to the motion because I think we've spoken about it over multiple meetings when we adopted our draft, and also just now. We've also dealt with the budget on various briefings at council. I feel that council, despite the discussions around inflation and the challenges for generating revenue, I do feel that Swan Hill Council is lucky to be in a strong position, and with the competent staff that we have on council, we are in a good position going forward to meet the challenges that we have, and I look forward to working with my fellow councillors and the staff at council to deliver good products and services and infrastructure to our community.
Thank you, Councillor Thornton. Councillor Broad, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Councillor Thornton stole the words out of my mouth. That was exactly what I was going to say. We've had a lot of debate and discussion around the budget. It's great to see our community. I think it went out for community inspection and we got some comments on that, and a few of them were quite supportive of some things we've got planned. But yeah, fully support the budget. Also keeping in mind from the discussions from last month is that we are keeping an eye on the expenses as a council group, and we'll continue to do that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Broad. Are there any speakers against the budget or somebody else that wishes to speak in favour of the budget? Councillor Jennings.
Just to add that it's been a good process to go through and agree with my fellow councillors that we are in a fairly strong position, which is not across the board for all regional councils, that's for sure. We are in a reasonably low debt position, and we have flagged with council officers our desire to be monitoring our expenses. In particular, we've raised the Pioneer Settlement. They've heard those concerns and come back to us with some alterations. Yeah, I think it's been a really good process, and we've worked through it well and landed in a pretty good position.
Thank you, Councillor Jennings. Any other speakers to the motion? Councillor Englefield.
Yeah, just I'd like to flag again that it's gone. The operating position, no matter what we do, unless we do something different, it's going to continue to deteriorate. That's the facts. So we really have to guard where we are at, and I concur with Councillor Jennings. It came up at the adopting the draft budget. Things like the Pioneer Settlement and the like, we need to watch all of our expenses like a hawk, because our trajectory as it stands is downhill. That's what the numbers tell us.
Thank you, Councillor Englefield. Any other speakers? Councillor Rogers.
I'd like to thank the staff for doing all the work they did. The budget's enormous. The councillors, I support everything the councillors say. We are in a good position due to all that hard work, and it certainly needs to be maintained at all costs to protect us in uncertain times. But I do wonder if because of the position that we are in, that we cannot also think about achieving some of the goals that we've got for the community in our council plan and progressing in them quicker, achieving good outcomes. So that's a challenge for the future, I guess. So yeah, I would like to explore that further down the track. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. With no speakers against the budget, I will the motion. Sorry, I will now put the motion. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. And just a couple of comments I'd like to make on the budget. Again, the councillors have mentioned it, but I do want to thank both the staff for their work on the budget. We know that this is an enormous task, and particularly Mr. Free, I know you've been carrying the can on this, and Mr. Fernando's ridden in on your coattails in the last few months. But thank you for Mr. Fernando, for your leadership of the department in this area. It is a massive amount of work, and thank you for being so open with councillors in particular in explaining all of the indicators and all of the things behind the budget, because that's really important, and we appreciate that thoroughness of you and your staff's work. If you could pass that on, and I would also like to thank the community. A bit of a change of process, as was mentioned this year, as to how we went about it. We heard from community at the front end of the budget. We heard from community along through the major projects plan. We heard from the community again towards the end of the budget process. So I want to thank everybody who got engaged in that. Those people that contacted councillors, that made submissions to the budget all the way through. Thank you for being involved in the process. And It won't be long, and we'll be doing it all again for financial year 27-28, and everybody can't wait for that one. I think it's also worth noting that particularly some of the major projects that are outlined in the budget are still dependent on grant funding, and there's a number of those where we are still waiting to get outcomes from higher levels of government as to whether we have been successful in those grants. And just on the net operating results, whilst local government remains at about 0.5%, less than 0.5% of tax revenue of the federal government, rather than where it started, which was at 1% of gross tax revenue of the federal government, we will continue, as Councillor Englefield rightly pointed out, to face challenges with our budget, and we will need to work out ways that we can improve that net operating result. So rest assured that we along with the other 600 plus councils right around Australia, continue to advocate for an increase in the financial assistance grants and restoring that to 1% of Commonwealth tax revenue. But yeah, that's a big job. But again, thank you, and we've now adopted the budget, so we can get to work in a couple of weeks' time when the new financial year ticks over at executing the budget. Thank you. We'll move to agenda item 2.3, the quarterly performance report to the community, and Mr. Fernando again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is also a new process or format that we are trialling, starting with this report. And this is essentially presenting a consolidated report of the key activities of council for the benefit of informing the community. So as you can see, we have the council plan, the financial position, major projects, etc. In this document, and it's essentially indicating what we have undertaken in that quarter. Happy to take any questions on any specifics if that is the case.
Thank you, Mr. Fernando. Are there any questions around the room, councillors? If there's no questions, could I have a motion? Councillor Thornton. Moved, as I'm going to assume, as per recommendation. Councillor Thornton, thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Jennings. Councillor Thornton, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you. Just very, very briefly, we can be at risk of over-reporting, and I think the consolidated report does give us a chance to keep abreast of what council is doing and what council is achieving, or on the other hand, not achieving. And so I appreciate that it's a consolidated report. I think that council are doing some great things, and it's clear in this report that what have been the priorities for the last quarter, and I thank you for the report.
Thank you, Councillor Thornton. Councillor Jennings, do you wish to speak?
I just endorse that from Councillor Thornton, and nothing further to add, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have any speakers against the motion? Does anybody else wish to speak to the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you. Agenda item 2.4, governance report, council policy review. And this one's also yours, Mr. Fernando. Busy day for you today.
Yes, a few items coming from corporate services, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, so this is about the media policy, essentially setting out how councillors and council officers will conduct themselves when engaging with the media. As you are aware, how we engage with the media can have a significant impact on the reputation of the council and potentially cost council if it isn't done properly. So that's the reason for this policy. The policy itself is self-explanatory, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fernando. Are there any questions around the tables, councillors? Councillor Thornton.
Thank you, Mr. Fernando. Just can you highlight any major changes from the previous policy?
There were some changes. They were mostly related to sort of emerging items like social media and how we need to be conscious of certain aspects of those matters. But we have taken guidelines from the Department of Local Government, from the State Department, on their standard guidelines as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, could I have a motion? Moved Councillor Broad.
As per the recommendation.
Thank you. Seconded Councillor Englefield. Councillor Broad, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Quickly, Mr Mayor, just that I think good governance requires regular policy review, and I think this helps us reduce risk and consistency and transparent decision making. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Englefield, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Oh, no, just that it's good to keep these policies up to date. So that's the process of doing that.
Thank you. Any speakers against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you. And I think it's a great day when governments reduce the number of policies, and we've just done that today. We've merged 2 into 1. So I think that's a great outcome. Thank you. Agenda item 2.5, request to lease council land, Swan Hill Aerodrome. Mr Fernando.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, again. This is a specific hangar at the aerodrome, Swan Hill Aerodrome, that is up for lease. It is being operated as or used to operate a flying school. The reason this is with council is that it exceeds the usual term of these leases. The current lessee has requested for a 30-year lease, the primary driver being that it enables the lessee to make investments inside the building to further improve the operations of the flying school. We have negotiated, the terms of the lease are generally in line with the commercial terms and market prices. We are not restricted or have a short supply of space at the aerodrome, so that it is not restricting anybody else who wants to come in and operate at the aerodrome in any way, and that is the primary reason why the officers have recommended this lease.
Thank you, Mr Fernando. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Jennings.
Just in the, if you could just go that down a little bit, please, Sharon. A bit further, there's a, no, sorry, there was a, in the rent review, it says annual CPI, all groups Melbourne at the anniversary of the commencement date. Can you just, sorry, Mr Fernando. Put my microphone on. Rent review, annual CPI, all groups Melbourne at the anniversary of the commencement date. Could you just explain that, please?
Yes, Councillor Jennings, but first, if I may make one item that I forgot in the opening statement, is that this will go for community consultation, and we come back to council based on those items. It's in the resolution itself because of the term of the lease.
So the reference to Melbourne, I'm not sure.
Yes, so when the Australian Bureau of Statistics publishes the CPI, so it publishes the CPI for each of the capital cities,
Okay.
and a common one for Australia as a whole. So when we say CPI, we should be specific of which CPI
city?
we should use.
Understood.
And in this instance, Melbourne is the most appropriate one.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Englefield.
Yeah, I was just going to point that out in the recommendations. This is really only the start of the process. As is noted in the recommendations that we are yet to vote on, that there will be public consultation and further processes before it's actually finally decided. Yeah.
That is correct. That is correct.
That's correct. Thank you. Yep. Do I have a motion? Councillor Thornton?
Sorry.
A question or a motion?
Question,
Thank you.
apologies. I do recall a few years ago a rather controversial flight school issue that came to Swan Hill and was also in Mildura. This is something similar, or is it not related at all? Or
Councillor Thornton, I'm not aware of the party that you're referring to, but this party has been at the aerodrome for a while now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is an existing business. Yeah. there's no other questions. Councillor Englefield?
Oh, I was going to move a motion, Mr
Yeah,
Mayor.
yeah,
As
that's
per-
fine. If there's no other questions, I'll
As
seek
per
a motion.
recommendation.
Move Councillor Englefield, seconded Councillor Rogers. Councillor Englefield, you wish to speak?
Yeah, only just to say that this is just, again, as in point 3 on the recommendations, it's just the start of the process. Let's run the process and come back to it.
Thank you. Councillor Rogers, wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I support the motion, and anything we do to progress the advancement of our transport in the community in our town, particularly aircraft, because it's a quick way to get people here and to get people where they need to go. It's great to see Learjets flying in and out. That's a good sign. I'd love to see passenger jets fly in and out too, but that might be a bit of a pipe dream for quite a few years. But I hope, we do see that one day, and we can have an airport out there that'll support that one day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Anybody wish to speak against the motion? Any other speakers to the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr Fernando, for your reports today. Move on to agenda item 3, section 3, officer reports for noting. Agenda item 3.1, audit and risk committee meeting minutes. Mr Fernando again.
Yes, this is just the presentation of the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee, which is a statutory requirement that we have an independent audit committee. The minutes itself can contain confidential information, so the details of the minutes will be in the confidential section. This is just the public notification that the minutes are being presented.
Thank you, Mr Fernando. And yeah, so if councillors do have any questions in regards to the minutes, we will deal with that in camera later on in the meeting. But for now, could I have a mover? Councillor Jennings, as per recommendation.
The recommendation, Mr Mayor.
Seconder, Councillor Englefield. Do you wish to speak?
Procedural, thank you.
Thank you. Wish to
No,
speak,
just-
Councillor
no,
Englefield? Thank you. Any speakers against the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Section 4 of the agenda today, 4.1, sign and seal. Mr CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councillors. This is a report for noting that we had one sign and seal for a Section 173 agreement for 4 Berrybank Drive, Swan Hill.
Thank you, Mr CEO. Any questions, councillors? If not, could I have a motion? Moved, Councillor Englefield.
As per recommendation.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Broad. You wish to speak?
No, as procedural.
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you.
Councillor
Mr.
Broad, no.
Mayor.
Any speakers against? Put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried. And agenda item 4.2, councillor briefings, record of attendance and agenda items. Mr CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councillors. This is a record of the attendance and agenda items. If there are any errors or omissions, please let us know if you can. Thanks.
Thank you, CEO. Could I have a mover for a motion, please? Moved, Councillor Jennings, seconded, Councillor
As per
Rogers.
the recommendation, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Anything you wish to say? Councillor Jennings?
No.
Councillor Rogers?
Further recommendation.
Thank you. Put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried. We will move on to section 5, notices of motion. And 5.1 is a rescission motion which is treated under our governance rules as a notice of motion. So I will handball to Councillor Jennings on item 5.1, please.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. This is virgin ground for me, and was interesting that the CEO said in his time there's only been 3 rescissions and 2 of them are on this same topic. So just for some context, as you're aware, I did move a motion at the previous council meeting with regard to a trial at the Swan Hill Motorplex complex. Making that decision in my capacity as a councillor is not undertaken lightly. Seeking to revisit a decision of this nature reflects the seriousness of the matter and the responsibility to carefully balance respect for established processes, considered judgment and the obligation to act in the best interests of the community. While established processes provide a structured and equitable framework for decision making. I've reflected carefully on my position and formed the view that the decision reached may not have been the correct one. And balancing these considerations requires thoughtful assessment of all perspectives to ensure that any final determination aligns with the best interests of the community. This is why, after careful consideration of the Council Resolution 2026/59 relating to the Swan Hill Motorplex Complex mechanical concrete matter, as resolved at the unscheduled council meeting on the 2nd of June 2026, I've formed the view that the decision was reached was not the correct one and the council should have the opportunity to debate this again. So having given due notice, I, Councillor Terry Jennings, hereby give my notice to rescind the Council Resolution CM 2026/59 made on Tuesday the 2nd of June 2026 for item 2.1 Swan Hill Motorplex Complex Mechanical Concrete, and that Council reopen and reconsider the report for the unscheduled Council meeting held on the 2nd of June 2026 at this Council meeting in camera.
Thank you. That is moved by Councillor Jennings, just letting councillors know that this is purely procedural, and there is no debate on a motion of rescission. So I have a moved by Councillor Jennings. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Seconded Councillor Rogers, and I'll now put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried. So as per the motion, this matter will be reconsidered in camera later on in the meeting today.
Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jennings. Thank you, councillors. Agenda item 5.2, notice of motion from Councillor Thornton in relation to floodplain engineering projects Naya and Vinifera. As I have declared a conflict of interest, I will now leave the room and ask Councillor Jennings to take the chair for this debate. Thank you, Councillor Jennings.
Thank you. Mr CEO, anything for you?
No, nothing for me. It's we'll hand to Councillor Thornton.
Councillor
to
Thornton.
Speak to a notice of motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And having given due notice, I would like to move a motion that Council writes to the Victorian Government, that's DECA, Lower Murray Water and the Mallee Catchment Management Authority, to request and facilitate an open community meeting at Naya involving the key local stakeholders about the VMFRP project in Naya and Vinifera. Council also should request that planned works are paused until this meeting has been undertaken.
Thank you, Councillor Thornton. Do I have a seconder to that motion? Councillor Englefield. Thank you. Councillor Thornton, do you wish to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Englefield for seconding my motion. It is no secret that I feel strongly about this issue, and I appreciate the community members who are joining us in the gallery today. I hope you have all read my preamble, so I will not go into that in depth, and I'll take us firstly to the meagre ask that is being that is part of this notice of motion to Council today. The ask is that Council request of DECA, MA and Lower Murray Water to meet with the community in an open forum, pausing works until this has taken place. This action would have a low risk and a low cost to Council. It could be as simple as writing the letter and providing the venue. A meeting such as this could happen as early as this weekend if there was a genuine commitment to that engagement. The urgency would also reduce the hold-up of works if the authorities agree. Lower Murray Water's Managing Director, who briefed Council a couple of weeks ago, left Council with a commitment to further engagement. I think the opportunities here for Council are to demonstrate to our local community of Naya and Vinifera and others across the municipality a commitment to genuine community engagement. We'll build trust in government processes and ensure our community is heard. Any opportunities for better outcomes will be explored through a open community meeting. Obviously, the authorities can refuse. I want to just speak to the fact that the petition tabled today, and that was generated over just the past few weeks at Nyah and Nyah West, does demonstrate broad and high levels of community opposition despite the claims of extensive consultation. And Council's position in the recent Basin Plan review does support these types of projects, however only when they have strong community support, which this one seems not to have. Briefly, the types of opposition range from the destruction of natural and cultural values that the project that will be occurring as a part of the projects. Private landholders do not get to do these things without providing offsets, and I don't think the local people accept this as a good management of a nature reserve. There's also opposition due to the failure to consider cheaper and less damaging alternatives that could actually water a broader range of sites, including sites across the river, such as the Poon Boon Lakes, which have never seen environmental water since the Basin Plan was enacted. Again, the council position in the recent review of the Basin Plan does favour relaxing constraints, as well as these types of offset projects, of which relaxing constraints and getting better flows to these areas are also a set of projects that do avoid further buybacks of water. Thirdly, there are deep community concerns about the changes to the floodplains on these two sites. They are extensive, creating large containment banks of over kilometres long, and I think that we, as a statutory authority, usually on planning matters such as these, could see a level of hypocrisy in regard to the fact that private landholders will struggle to raise a housing slab or a place to build a house on the floodplain, yet we haven't had a say in these large changes to the floodplain. And some of the residents of Coralie are currently in discussions about huge concerns of theirs that these changes to the floodplain will cause flooding in their community in subsequent floods. I will leave it at that and hope to speak again if I get the chance.
Thank you, Councillor Thornton. Councillor Englefield.
I'll actually be speaking against the motion, Mr Mayor. I've moved, seconded to allow debate to take place.
Thank you. Yes, happy to
So
hear
if
you.
I'm happy to speak against it now if you like.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'll just check, is there any other one wanted to speak for the motion? Councillor Broad.
Thanks, Chair. This project, as I've come to know it, has been going on for about 10 years. Now, 10 years ago, I was 16. I would have had no idea this project was about to start. Sorry. Probably wasn't interested as a 16-year-old. And now I'm 26, and I've only recently found out about it. Now, I think the motion actually has a fair validity to it, with different departments and writing a letter and potentially hosting or even just providing a venue for a forum. I think the project has mixed information out there from people that I've talked to and research that I've done. There's a different number of trees with everyone that I've talked to. And I am in favour of having some sort of forum to get all the information out there, so everyone knows what's going on and everyone's up to date with the project. Now, I'm also aware that we are not the decision maker, the funding body or the delivery agency, but I can't sit here and say I'm a community representative and not want the community to be informed, up to date, and consistently be up to date with what's going on by these other agencies. So I am absolutely inclined to support the motion.
Thank you. Speaker against the motion, Councillor Englefield.
I mean, I come from the perspective of these projects have been kicked around for 15 years, officially probably for 10, and as was stated in the open forum, there's been a large amount of public consultation over the years regarding this project. It's taken its time to work its way through all of its environmental approvals and those types of things. So, the large number of the community might very well have been unaware that these things were going on, but that's more from a lack of interest and a lack of availability of being able to be.
Please be quiet in the background. Thank you. Thank you. If there's any commentary from the gallery, I'll have to exclude you.
It's clear that it's a long, drawn-out process. The process has been approved by the State Planning Minister. The project has been approved by the Federal Environment Minister. The project has a Cultural Heritage Management Plan that's approved by the obviously the appropriate cultural heritage group. These things, it's had a legal challenge about the actual process itself that failed or wasn't successful, whichever way you wanted to describe it. We've got to the stage now where construction works are actually going to start. I think somewhere along the line, you just have to concede that whether you're, if you're opposed to a particular project and you fight the good fight, but somewhere along the line, the project's, if met all its proper community expectations and approvals, that it'll go ahead. Now, I'd just like to confirm my bona fides in one sense here. I'm definitely not a supporter of this from any environmental point of view. I in fact think that there's as in the preamble, there's an awful lot of politics in this. I was definitely opposed to water buybacks. I think the designation of Lake Alexandrina as a freshwater lake was a political decision. But I just want to make it clear to people where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the process. This project has been in a process that's taken to now 10 years to get to this stage. There's been ample opportunity for people to have an input. There's been extensive environmental
1 minute warning, Councillor Englefield.
Extensive environmental studies. You can always find somebody that will, have an alternative view. But from my point of view, what it's worth, this process has run its course. It's time to let it go, and I don't think council should become involved at this 25th hour.
Thank you. Councillor Thornton, you've got 3 minutes to respond. Everyone else, did you want to? You're speaking for or against Councillor Rogers? Or both?
Well, Councillor, it was just for what? You haven't asked for against, so you're speaking for at the moment, aren't you?
That was against?
That was against. I guess for. Righto. We've got a really passionate group about their forest up there. They love their trees and I see that they've done a lot of great work around our community, planting trees down around the Pie Settlement, on our wetlands, and they've been really wounded by this process, I see. And they're our citizens, they're part of our community. Not everyone supports everything that they do, but they're out there having a bit of a go and doing good things, and I see good people banding with them and good things coming from it. And it's very disappointing that outsiders can come in our municipality and just railroad the processes that we're stuck with, and we can't even trim a branch down on the river precinct out there without getting 15 different authorities, and we're held up to this day on a number of major projects down there that should have been ticked off months ago, and we should have contractors working to make things better down there in our community. So I guess after a lot of consideration, and it's a very tough one for me to make this, because I don't want to burden our council with much more, because we've got so many. Our role is roads, rates and rubbish, and we have to maintain our budgets and do what we do, and we can't take on too much. But I see that we're asking for letters to be written. I don't see that as a big thing. Councillor Thornton has said that all we may need to do is provide a facility for a meeting. I don't think that's unreasonable, and I'll have to support Councillor Broad and Councillor Thornton.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Thornton, the right of reply for 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I've got a number of points that I'd like to put forward to enhance this discussion. Back in 2018, there was a South Australian Royal Commission into the Murray-Darling Basin, and the lead commissioner in that process determined that these projects were pseudoscience. So if we want to talk about the scientific rigour of them, we should refer to that or keep that in mind. His second in charge, the council assisting, went on to write a book about the process and called these projects a con job on the environment, because they are not really restoration of the environment. They are a water savings project that had to be actually assessed under the national, federal environment laws. Now, you have to jump a very high bar of environmental risk and damage to actually be assessed under that process, under that EES or Environment Report process. And whilst that does give community members an opportunity to participate, it is a hugely legalistic process. It is a process that requires you to come up and front up against highly paid lawyers, funded by the government in this case, and I commend the community who could commit to that sort of process. It's like David and Goliath, against Goliath. I'll also just refer back to the report given by the proponent, Lower Murray Water, and I do really appreciate the briefing that we were given, and I think that it would have been fabulous if we had that at the beginning of this council, because some of the councillors have only been seeing this for the first time. Unfortunately, we live in a world where the definition of science and research is contested. But I think that the bar that all academia uses when it comes to peer review is that if your research is published. When research is published, it is peer reviewed by a number of relevant and qualified scientists or researchers, and that publication is verification. In this case, it is not published, and it is also funded by DECA, who have a strong commitment to these projects going ahead. When it comes to the community at Naya, there's currently 3 water authorities working in Naya. You have Grampians Wimmera Valley Water having one role and undertaking one project. You have Lower Murray Water with the environmental water projects, and you have Golden Murray Water going through a future services strategy. Now, it's not holistic, and I think the community would absolutely love to be better involved and to deliver better outcomes that are going to be cheaper for the taxpayer. They're going to be they have much more integrity in terms of the environmental outcomes that they deliver, and also much more community benefit. So this very small ask of further community engagement via one open community forum where ideas are openly discussed and information contested, I think is a really, really valid process and one that the community will really appreciate. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Thornton. All right, well, we'll put the motion. All in favour of Councillor Thornton's motion? 3. Against? Motion is carried. Thanks, Ms Johnson. Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just to let you know that Councillor Thornton's motion has been approved. So we will be, as per her motion, writing to various government organisations to see if we can facilitate a meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Jennings.
Where are we?
Agenda item 6. Foreshadowed items. Do we have any foreshadowed items, councillors? No. Item 7, urgent items not included in the agenda. We've had no notice of those. Number 8, to consider and order on councillor reports. Sorry, I didn't give a list of which way we're going to go, so I'll start over here with Councillor Thornton and we'll go around the room that way.
Probably not the best person to be talking right at the moment. Thank you very much. I have provided my my printed report to council, and I've enjoyed my work as a councillor this month since the last meeting. But there has been a lot of engagement and with the Nye community on the VMFRP project, which has been a really important process for me to engage with, particularly given my irrigator role as well. What I will speak to is the fact that I have missed an event today, which I'm really disappointed about, which is the FRRR roadmap review. 12 months since the FRRR funded project took off in Swan Hill, that is going to turbocharge community organisations in Swan Hill with grant funding to become more sustainable and have a really engaged community in the voluntary sector. So here's to community volunteers, and I hope that they've had a fantastic day reviewing their roadmap.
Thank you, Councillor Thornton. Councillor Jennings.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just waiting for mine to pop up there. So attended the International Buyers Summer Fruits event at the Lower Murray Inn, which was a good event. The only negative of that was there was a lot of buyers there and not a lot of growers. So I'd encourage growers, when you've got a captive audience of buyers from all over the world there at this event, that it's a good one to be present at, because there was a lot of them and they were heavy hitters in the fruit industry. So assuming that we do it again, we'll perhaps have to do a little bit more promotion to make sure we get more of the locals there. The Housing Action Group, there was 2 events that I attended. The second one was the bus trip around to have a look at different ways of construction, which was quite interesting. As part of the May Means Madness, May means business and madness. So the secondary dwelling, housing infill and investment pathway that we had down at the tourism centre, and then the following day the bus trip around to Swanbuild and to have a look at some other options for housing solutions. So they were good. So that was my lot for the last month.
Thank you, Councillor Jennings. Councillor Rogers.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I did attend down at the Pioneer Settlement for the small houses and development opportunities there, so that was well received and good. On the 28th of the 5th, I attended a State Council reception led by Councillor McPhee. We headed off and it was an evening with mingling with other councillors from all metro areas and also our country areas. The protocol was to introduce yourself as a councillor, so because it was a councillor place, so I introduced myself as Councillor Rogers from Swan Hill and Councillor McPhee's apprentice. Les then took me under his wing, I think, for the next day and a half, and I applaud him and thank him very much for that because he taught me so much. And by the end of the following day, there was at least 3 councillors that had asked me whether I'd like to be on the board of the State Council, and I replied yes. I really enjoyed the process and meeting all the other councillors and hearing their problems and then them hearing also ours. They were probably asked the question many times from me, how many red gum bridges have you got in your municipality? And they all looked at me funny as to say, well, you don't have them anymore, they're way gone. And I said, well, we've got one and it's our main bridge and we really want to get rid of it and get it replaced with a new concrete bridge as you have so many down in metro areas. So I certainly pushed that barrow pretty hard. Councillor McPhee, the following day in actually a state conference, it was a grand experience in the town hall of Melbourne, and Councillor McPhee explained the process to me. He showed me and actually let me use the voting device when it came to votes of the motions that were put up from all the state councils. Our 3 got up, very well received, and all in the 90s. And occasionally there was a call from the members for a division, and in particular ours, if ours received a 90, the next result of the division showed that there was 100%. So the people who voted against it, when it was exposed as a division, they all voted 100% and didn't want to expose themselves because those councils didn't get named of the ones who objected to it. So that was a great experience. I met and shook hands with the Lord Mayor of Melbourne. I've actually got photos of Councillor McPhee and with him. Also the Minister of Local Government, shook hands with him. I had some discussions and conversations with our southern councils, which is the Shire of Campaspe, Gunnawara, and it was a grand experience. So I really did some good networking, and I thank the council for letting me go down there and do that. After that, on the 5th of the 6th, I had the Fight for Cancer Foundation at the Town Hall exhibition. I spoke to the CEO about that, and it's a self-funded organisation that creates funding or sources funding to create accommodation down in the city for people who are suffering and their families with cancer. It was a little bit close to me. My father actually passed away from cancer many, many years ago when I was only 9 years old. So that was great to see our local people getting behind that. 10th of the 6th, CEO Employment Remuneration Committee. 11th of the 6th, Swan Hill. 11th of the 6th, I have to say this. The population of Swan Hill has grown by 1, because I'm a proud grandfather on that day. Louis Douglas Barr was born on the 11th of the 6th. So we are growing our population, which is what I'm here for. I also attended last night the Lake Boga Inc. meeting, they're ticking along okay. So that's probably all that is for me, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Councillor Inglefield.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things. The Robinvale mixer, business mixer, which we had Michelle and CEO Scott and yourself at, was really a really good event. I thought we had a good roll-up. We had a little bit of competition for sound levels from all the kids, but that was fun too. So that was really good. And I also attended the other week Murray Valley Wine Growers Outlook Conference for the wine industry, for their biannual wine industry conference, and I'm not going to depress everyone here about that, but it doesn't paint a very pretty picture.
Thank you, Councillor Englefield. Councillor Broad.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Not a particularly busy month for me. Went to the races, which is great. One of our bigger events in town. It was great to see a lot of people there on the Sunday. Board meeting last night with Swan Hill Inc., which again they're doing incredible things, and the Event Support Fund Committee with Council this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Broad. I can duplicate a lot of other things that other councillors have been to, but thanks for everybody's attendance and support, particularly of the May Means Business events. That's been great. One thing I'd like to highlight from my report is I was invited to attend the Victoria Police Area Medals ceremony, which is an annual ceremony where medals are awarded for various reasons, not just service, but also bravery, contribution to members of the police force in the division in this area, and to hear some of the stories of some of the feats and the bravery that has been shown by local police members was quite incredible. I'm not going to share them, but I have encouraged the police to, where they can, to share some of those things with the general community, because it really does highlight that they go well above and well beyond their call of duty, and obviously put themselves at risk a lot for safety of the community. So thanks to the Victoria Police in particular this month, and thank you for inviting me along to that very special ceremony. Other councillors have highlighted the long weekend in Swan Hill, and again I just want to thank all the organisations that put on events, from the Jockey Club to motor racing to the art exhibition, and now I've dug myself a hole because I won't be able to remember everything that was on that weekend, but it was a fantastic weekend. The town had a real buzz about it, and also thank you to the restaurants, cafes, other hospitality venues for giving up your long weekend so that you can serve others on the long weekend. So fantastic weekend for Swan Hill, and the weather was unbelievable for winter. So very good. Thank you, councillors, for all of your reports. With all the public agenda items now considered, before we move into camera, I'll just let the general public know that when we come out of camera, the only order of business is to close the meeting. So I will thank you for your attendance today in person and online, and look forward to seeing you again at the July council meeting. Who can believe that we're heading into July already? And with that, I will ask for a motion to move into camera. Please, councillors. Move Councillor Broad, seconded Councillor Jennings. All those in favour? Motion is carried.